There we go.
Hi,
Ron McGoss.
John, nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah, I currently work at BioFire as a project coordinator. Currently, we're rolling out software internally for the company. Yeah, I live in Salt Lake City. I have 2 dogs.
How do you like it in Salt Lake City so far?
No, I really like it. It's grown on me.
And you lived here for quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it's about 5 years.
But you moved, from what I understand from your resume is that you kind of just moved to Salt Lake area, the downtown area, pretty recently.
Yeah,
And it's working pretty well.
yeah, no, I like it. Yeah, it's convenient. I mostly walk everywhere, so it'd be nice to walk to work.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I've had jobs where I drive an hour to work. It's such a different world when you can just walk somewhere 10 minutes away. It doesn't make a big deal.
Especially with parking.
Well, I guess the purpose of the interview is that I'm gonna ask some pointed questions. We want to see very honestly how you will fit in this position, given what you're doing now. If we want to see if you think this is a good fit from your perspective, we want to see if it's a good fit from my perspective as well. And so some of these questions are just try to be as honest as you can. And I think it'll go really, really well. And just basing your resume seems like you're more than qualified. So let me just jump in here and I'll give you an opportunity to ask some questions yourself. But one of my first questions that I think on a macro level is, what do you think, given your current work, qualifies you for this position as a project manager here at Colorado?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Having worked in several facets of project management, like I do think that gives you like a general knowledge. And one thing that really stuck out to me was like how you guys work a lot with Salesforce. I worked in admin positions. Yeah, I've worked in that a long time. So.
And Salesforce is a huge part of what we do.
Yeah.
So it really is a jumpstart if you have kind of an understanding of that going in. Another question that we would have is, we are still deciding on project management software as it stands. And so just curious what project management software you've worked with.
Absolutely. Rocket League, I have worked in Smartsheet, Monday.com, Jira, and then of course Project, probably Project the most.
The Microsoft project.
Yeah.
We use that quite a bit. And you feel pretty comfortable given just like the scope of the project, you can work through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like seeing like what it's about and like how often your turnovers, and yeah, it seems like a really great fit and something that like I'd absolutely be challenging but really enjoy managing.
Yeah, I think we have classes there. If there's anything, like I said, I'm not 100% sure where we're going there, but just having a broad understanding of how project management software works is a huge plus for us.
Of course.
Now, one of the things that we run into a lot is there's quite a bit of autonomy that we grant new candidates, and a lot of times you're going to have some downtime. And in a lot of cases, when it comes to downtime, you have 2 or 3 hours. You're not going to be micromanaged. How do you typically fill your downtime?
Absolutely. I always make sure that I list my priorities out from most important to least. And then if there's anything that like I've been putting off, I try to get done. And then I can enjoy my time off. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's just an expectation here that if you have downtime, you can fill it with productive things. And it sounds like that's probably what you do. Now, another question is, why, if I can ask this, why would you want to leave BioFire currently to work at Colorado?
No, absolutely. I love my teammates. I've just ran into my specific position as a coordinator. It's kind of ran into a wall. Like there's no progression as far as moving up. Yeah, it's been a great place to work, but they don't really leverage my time and skills.
Yeah, I think we have quite a bit of upward mobility here. One other thing I have a question for you is, what is something from your perspective that you feel is a strength that you're looking for in this position that you think you could really have, given like your background?
No, absolutely. I think that I have a really good, good work-life balance where I'm able to come to work with a positive attitude. I enjoy working with people. I realize I'm not an expert at everything, and I try to bring everybody together. I miss working actually in the office. So like, I think the hybrid position would be perfect.
Interesting. And so like you feel like from like as far as teammates, you feel like there's like a cohesion there, something's missing.
Yeah, like I recognize that I'm not good at everything, and I try to help wherever I can, but I think that like a collective like goal mindset is the way to go.
Now, we might ask you, yeah, and you probably read the job description, we might ask you to do things for someone outside that job description, is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, side projects are always good. Good way to fill your time. Also, like maybe learn other like, parts of the business or other departments. Like some sort of cross training thing. I'd love that. Yeah, great.
Well, absolutely, that's excellent. Now another question here that I ask everyone is, tell me about a time when you specifically had to de-escalate a situation with coworkers. A lot of times here at Carta, what will happen is, you'll be working one-on-one with someone else. And if like a conflict arises, instead of like, we're not looking for people to run and try to have a manager solve this. Like, what is typically your de-escalation technique?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I would say, you know, like, especially when you're working in project management, you're working with like cross departments. And they don't always have the same priorities you do. They have a whole other job. So what I try to do is just try to sit down with them and what time would work for them. And what sort of like, you know, also, you know, explaining my importance in my role of transitions or wherever I am. And then also just making sure the manager knows that we're allocating that, and that we get their buy-in.
Okay, excellent. Now, this is a kind of a cliche one, but we like to ask it, just kind of see how you answer it. But as far as weaknesses, what do you think is your biggest weakness as a candidate, or maybe in your past position with the weaknesses that you kind of emerged over the years you were there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think that, especially in my early years, like a lot of work is thrown at you at once, you know, and it's hard to prioritize those things. And I think the tendency had been for me to like just rush it out as fast as possible instead of slowing down and organizing it. I've really made like a pointed effort to like write everything down, make sure that like I know what I'm doing the next day and then what I need to do. And said also said like a lot of like I rely on technology to remind me like this is, you know, I think your mind is for the present and this is, you know, like you should write things down.
So you say like you incorporate like a lot of tools into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think that you need to focus on the quality of you being present more than you need to worry about like remembering everything. Like it's proven that we're not meant to like record every little detail that's important. And that doesn't mean it needs to not be recorded.
Yeah, I think that we appreciate that. Like in a lot of ways, what we run into sometimes is people who want to be organized, don't really take steps to remedy that. And so, yeah, and it sounds like you know a lot about project management software. So if you're incorporating that in here, then I think this could be a good fit that way. Now, flipping that, biggest strength that you think you could offer?
You know, probably just alone my project management skills and the fact that like I really do hold communication very important. So I would offer clear communication, clear expectations, you know, and just hope that that's like a mutual agreement in the team.
Yeah, I think we do put a huge
Like a
emphasis
culture.
we do as a culture. I mean, we like to think that we put a huge emphasis on communication. So if it's something that's in your strength, you know, I think it'll fit perfect. Now, another question here at BioFire is what do you think is your biggest success at work as it stands now?
Absolutely. I've taken several processes and essentially like made them lean. Or like cut out unnecessary steps or like made a step easier so the next step would be easier. It's to make my coworkers' lives easier, my manager's life easier, and also mine. You know, so when a lot of work's thrown at you, like if you try to work smarter, not harder, right?
That's true. I mean, as far as process improvement is, we put a very big emphasis on. I guess the only other question I would have is, when you've been applying, why specifically Carta? What jumped out of Carta to you?
Yeah, actually, like, so I worked at a startup company, and I actually didn't know what a cap table was or any sort of compensation tool, but it stuck out to me because of startup, like it's kind of a startup vibe. Knowing you guys work a lot with startup companies, I thought that was really great. I also did a lot of research, like on the culture itself, and I really loved, like, just the binding culture and the friendship culture that everybody has there. So it was actually really cool to hear Henry talk.
You feel like Henry is a pretty good visionary in terms of like
Oh, and
as far as leader?
He seems like a very open person, who wants, you know, to have that clear communication. And I think that you know, definitely transcends down to the rest of the company.
I think that's excellent, especially if you're taking the time to hear him speak, kind of get an idea where we're headed.
Yeah.
So then I guess I should ask at this point, like, what's some questions you have for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, what is the least favorite thing about your job and what's your favorite?
As far as my favorite thing, I think you touched on it earlier. I think that it's really encouraged in our culture to have like clear lines of communication and be incredibly helpful to one another, even if we're talking about cross department stuff. Least favorite would be that I think, when it comes to, but just work in general, there's a lot of divisiveness currently on, like, maybe what you mentioned, with remote work versus coming into the office. And I think there's quite a few people who feel like maybe there's something missing from doing remote work. And so I think we don't really have a clear vision on what that's going to look like in the future. But I think we're still deciding on that. So I would like to see that maybe fleshed out or like unpacked a little bit more from some of the higher level executives. But that's something that we're working on.
Great. Do you think you have pretty good work-life balance in the department specifically?
Absolutely. I think we paid a lot of attention to that. And so, you know, I think if that's something that's important to you, that's something to be
Absolutely.
helpful.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there's a mutual respect there. I guess my final question would just be like, you know, I think that my skill set was very much in line, you know, there's a lot of things that stuck out to me, specifically in the job description, and also just learning more about the company. I think that I'd be a great fit. I think I'd be a really great value to you. And I just want to know when I expect a phone call to let you.
Well, we're gonna be continuing. The interview period ends in about 2 weeks. So I would expect we have we try to follow up with everyone and in the next 2 weeks, probably a 2-week period, we'll be sending out phone calls. But expect some sort of answer in the next 2 weeks. Is there a time frame that you're looking for, as far as like?
No, you know, I just want to make sure that I give proper notice to my current employer, just out of respect. So I would just like to give them notice as soon as possible.
Okay. We'll get back to you if you want more information on the interview process. Just reach out to us. We have somebody kind of let you know where you stand.
Yeah, and it was Karen who like emailed me all that paperwork, right? Is that who will be reaching out?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, that's great.
If that's who you spoke to.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think she was in the HR. And then needed.
Okay, well, we'll absolutely we'll touch on this. And we'll talk soon. I appreciate you coming in and
All right.
good luck with everything.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.